Hello, paddle people. Just want to make a quick little video about my experiences paddling the Seine River and some good put-in places that I've discovered. I can't say that I'm an expert paddler. I've done a lot of hours, but I guess it's like that Dunning-Kruger effect, right? Like the more you know you don't know. um, anyway, I saw a post earlier today about some new people getting into it, which is great to see. So I just thought I'd talk about some of the places that I've enjoyed on the Seine River because it's my favorite river to paddle. But starting at John Bruce Park, I think it's the one we all know, we're all familiar with, and if not, then it's my recommendation for somebody who's just getting starting out. It's a really accessible place to launch a kayak. Very easy to put in, very easy to pull out. Oh, I should make a little disclaimer that it's been a couple years since I've actually paddled. So most of my experience actually came from a couple years ago when the river was really low. So some of the things I might be speaking on maybe reflecting that, and I haven't actually been able to get out when it was this high, which looks like a lot of fun, but unfortunately I don't have a vehicle anymore, so it makes it difficult to go paddling on my own volition. From John Bruce Park, paddling downstream was fun, but then you'd have to paddle back up to your put-in point. So I'm gonna also make another disclaimer here that this entire video is going to be on my experience, which was almost exclusively solo paddling, or if I was paddling with friends. I was actually paddling with friends most commonly, but pretty much exclusively I was returning to my put-in location. I was starting and ending at the same place. So that's what this is going to be about. Going north, there was often a beaver dam right here, and so there was a bit of portaging required to get around it, but the rest of this paddle was very lovely. There was usually some rapids here at Shore Hill Drive. Same thing. If the water was high enough, or if you're ambitious enough, you were able to get over the rocks. When the river's high enough, it's probably a non-issue. On the other side of Shore Hill Drive, there's this Moro Gospel Church. That was a good spot to put in. You can park your vehicle right here in the parking lot. Just walk a short ways down, put your kayak or your canoe in. From here, I would recommend not going north. I think most of these are usually easier to start going south and then return going north, because then it's easier to return on the downstream. Sorry if I choke on my words here a little bit. I don't commonly make a lot of these videos, but I've been trying to get into the habit of it. One of my other passions is I'm a photographer, and I've been recognizing that making YouTube videos is very beneficial for both myself and for other people. And I'm very uncomfortable speaking into a microphone, so this was a good excuse for me to do so. This was one of my other favorite put-in locations, but it looks like they've done some construction here. And so they used to be able to just pull into this road and it would go all the way up to the Seine. You can just park on this dirt patch. But I think that they've built a bridge here now. So that might not be accessible anymore, which is kind of too bad, because this was a really good spot to go from here to Prairie Grove Road, which is more or less the end of the run. There's a culvert here, and you'll get stuck. So I think there's a way to portage around this, but it seemed really awkward. It's a train bridge. I've never done it, so I've never actually done the last section of the Seine. I guess it's not technically Prairie Grove Road. That would be Prairie Grove Road, but the train bridge was something I was never able to paddle past. So that's the end of the run for me. But so that's the south end of the city, the south end of the Seine. Going north. Okay, John Bruce Park. I've started at John Bruce Park. There was a little bit of rapids somewhere around here that could be a little bit tricky, but Not too bad overall. The tunnel going under the bridge was usually pretty fun. I don't know what it's like when the river is so high. It might not be accessible. I imagine a lot of these bridges might not be able to paddle through when the river's too high. Which, like, don't ever take that for granted. You know, like if you don't know if like if it's a low bridge, you know, like it's just too many chances for things to go wrong. You know, like if there's clearance, go for it, but don't take your life in your own hands. Bridges are, well, culverts especially. Don't ever go through a culvert. But if there's not enough room under the bridge, things can go south very fast. Happiness Bridge. That's another one. It's very low, so it might be hard to get under if the river's too high. But there was a put-in spot. Oh, I missed one. Niagara Road. It's coming up Fermor. Turn at Archibald here. You can go right and come down Niagara Road and park at the end of the road. There's a good spot to just drag your yak or your canoe down and put it in there. From there you can go north or south. Same with Comanche Road in Niagara Park. You can come in off Archibald, same way. Park here. This one can be a little bit tricky, but there's a bit of a gravel, rocky slope here that I found I was able to find a couple of good put-in spots. This whole section of the Seine, you go by the Windsor Park Golf Course and the St. Boniface Golf Course. It's a long paddle, but it's super nice. I always enjoyed this area. There's like some nice houses with like interesting backyards, lots of flora and fauna. Saw like foxes and skunks, beavers, turtles, deer, you name it. If you're gonna see it, I would usually see it along here. Tremblay Bridge was a good one. That's sometimes people call it the Rainbow Bridge. It's usually painted something different every year. Whoa, that's a little bit too close. But yeah, you can see it here. It paints it different every year, but same thing coming off of Archibald, park at the end of Tremblay. You can put in fairly easily. Giraud, a little bit tricky to get to. Coming up Marion, you can turn down Dufresne, do this little jog here and get onto Giraud Street, or you can just come straight from Archibald, go down Giraud. This is a nice put-in spot. Same thing as a gentle slope. We like finished a run here and came up, and it was so majestic. Like 5 deer came prancing through here, and like just like one of them just like leaped over something, but like really nearby. We were pulling our yaks up, and they just like ran right through here. It's beautiful. Little non sequitur there. Yeah, from Giraud, that was really nice because you can paddle. There was a couple of obstructions sometimes. The river's so high, you might not be able to get under this. I haven't been able to determine if this is open or not. When it was low, there was rapids here that were difficult to navigate, but if you can get over them, then you can travel. We were able to get from Giraud all the way back to Fermor and back again. Also from Giraud, we have in the past, depending on the beaver dams, it got pretty serious at some points, kind of near getting closer to Provencher, but when the beaver dams weren't obstructing it, we were able to get from Giraud all the way to the mouth of the Red. A note about that, oh jeez, I just bumped the desk. It was probably really loud in the microphone. Sorry about that, guys. A note about that, if you're paddling up to the mouth of the Red and back, it's gonna, it's tiring because you're going downstream and then you're coming back upstream. But this section here especially, depending on water level, when it was low, it was moving fast and it was really hard. It was a challenge for sure. If you're already like at the end of your run, you're halfway and you're like, okay, now I got to paddle back. And then you're like using all your energy just to get up this section and you got like to go the rest of the way. Just bear that in mind. It can be a bit tricky. Also, it's the Red River. There's lots of debris and logs and things going through there right now. A lot of dams and not dams, log piles. So there's definitely lots of objects in there, so be extra careful near the red. Yeah, I think a little note here. Did I miss any of them? Comanche, Nakba, Tremblay, Giroux, John Bruce, Short Hill. Yeah, that about wraps it up. I hope that helps. I definitely miss paddling, and it's nice to see newcomers coming out and enjoying the sport and get out there and paddle.